Hey y'all. So in this video, wanted to really just do a quick recap of Princeton reunions. For a few of you might know that I went to Princeton University, and so this year was 9 years since graduation. So just wanted to give you a quick recap. There's a couple of things that were really cool though, and so I'm gonna highlight them coming up. But more than anything, I wasn't planning on going actually, and so it was very interesting to be able to have a quick turnaround to go to the event. And for when you don't know, every year we have reunions, and it's this. It starts Thursday, goes until Saturday night. But the other thing is also that on Sunday is generally commencement or graduation, and it was really fun. It was really fun. I'm glad I went. I said I'll share with you just some of the learnings that I came out of it and why I even decided to go. So I think 9 years on, a lot of you know I'm from Jamaica, so it was just good to be able to go back and just see. And it was the first time when I came. I think it was my third time in America when I came to Princeton. It was cold, and I'll definitely share the story some other time about, for me, like what Princeton was, what it represented, and all the things that I was able to get out of it. So there's a couple things for me that this one happened pretty quickly. So this is Monday. I think about a week ago, a little bit over a week ago, I hit up my friends. They're like, "Hey, I'm gonna be there. Would love to see you." I am based out of Atlanta currently, and so it was a quick trip up to New Jersey to go be there. And I really enjoyed. As I said, I enjoyed it. I think there's a couple of things that I was thinking through. It's my second time being back. I went in 2019, so that's 5 years, and so hoping to go back next year. So it'll be 10 years. So generally, the fifth and then the 10th are really big year, and people really show out to just come get to see each other. There's a couple of things, as I said, for me that really stood out. The first thing was just like realizing that you've had impact on people, and sometimes you don't know until later in life. So there's two stories. One of them, someone came up to me and they said my last year I was at a trap meet, and they just saw how I was crushing it, and it was like they were officiating, and I'd gone up to them, give them a fist bump, and for them just seeing that, like authority winning was something that was like inspiring for them. And this is, I said, probably 9 years later. I remember this face. I don't remember his name, and I think that was like that felt really good to me to know that someone acknowledged all the work that I've put in, and that have been an inspiration. And the fact that I, it left such an imprint on them. The other one that I was able to, if someone else came up to me and said, "Hey, like it was one of the guys on the team, and they had broke the 4 minute mile for the first time," and he said he came into the locker room, fist bump, and I fist bumped him. I don't remember, but I definitely did it, and he said that was a seal of approval for him. And so there was this idea for me about like being in a place that like provided approval for people, and being able to like being that person to give that approval to him. I didn't think about it much, but looking back 9 years on, I'm like, wow, this really stood out, and it really was something that like I would say like helped other people. That felt really good. The other thing I was thinking about too is talking at a great time talking to people who did not go to Princeton. So you start to think about people start bringing their spouses, and there's a couple of things that started happening. You started to see that this is where a lot of Princeton folks felt comfortable, and so you always want to go back to the place where you feel like you're best, right? So that's always something that I've been thinking about, and one of the reasons why I went is like, is this the place that I felt comfortable, or was this a place where I did because I had to? And then where are the places that I feel comfortable, So there's something that I was thinking through. One of the things I think about too is there's this air of like believing in yourself. And that's something that I really missed a little bit, of just seeing people that are just, there's a strong belief that they're the best at what they're doing, or they can do anything and all things in what they're doing. So that was something that I was thinking about a lot. I really was thinking about that a lot, because it made me it made me it felt good to be around folks who showed confidence in a way that I could replicate or tap into something myself. And maybe it's because I'm in a season where I've been doubting myself a little bit, but it was really cool. And I think when you get an opportunity to be around people that encourage you and, like, like, celebrate your genius and like your uniqueness, you always move towards that. And I'm not saying that I had that at Princeton. I'm just saying that, like, wherever place that you can go, feel free to check it out. One of the things with reunions in a place like Princeton is always about, like, not only who shows up, but about who didn't. And so I was thinking about that as well, because there's bunch of folks who showed up, and then there's a lot that didn't. And I think that shows just as much. One of my friends mentioned, it says, for the folks who didn't feel empowered by this place, they might not have showed up. And so that's something that I've been thinking about, is reunions, or any event as well, is just as important of who shows up versus who didn't. And so I was thinking deeply about that, about what did it say about the folks that didn't show up? Is it that these are the folks that were not empowered by this, or just busy? This is no longer a priority for them. Or then the idea is, like, why is it that there's only a certain type of folks that shows up? And you will see it, right? Like, in anything, like, you leave college or high school, and some people doesn't care anything about it. And then there's a group of people that it meant so much to them that they go back, I won't come to a conclusion yet, but it's just raising awareness to it. The other thing I think through, which was, I think, something that I'm going to have to do in the next couple of years, but when you start to see people bring their partners and their spouses, I do think that was, like, interesting, because now you're seeing through their eyes, like, oh, how weird is this weird tradition that we have, and and going on. And it was just interesting to see the perspective of the spouses do that. So that was something that I got to. One of the things I saw was, like, and this is a two-part. It's like, nostalgia. I didn't realize how much sometimes it feels good for the soul. Like, it felt good to, like, you remember this time, oh my God, this story, oh my God, this place. There's this nostalgia that was really good for the soul. So yeah, I was pleasantly surprised about just how good that felt. I'm sure there's some science around this, I don't know, but it was definitely, like, some nostalgia that was good for the soul there. So I'm happy I had that experience of just, like, being able to reflect in that manner. The flip side to that too is, like, there are also just tons of constructions that was going on campus, and I felt myself being pulled to, like, wow, there's so many changes. Why are there so many changes? And then it's just this idea of, like, obviously it's been 9 years. You expect that there should be changes, but then I felt like I'm almost wanting to capture things back where it was, like, in 2013, 2014. Like, no, stay this way. So that's interesting. I'd be curious to see how all of you I've been thinking about different types of reunions, different get-together, homecoming. I had a really good conversation about inclusivity and what that means. Now, we're starting to see, like, schools like Princeton they're gonna let in a bit more people. They're opening up colleges some more, so there's gonna be more people coming in. What does that mean? I think there's very much, over my last year, stronger representations of people of color, people of different orientation. There's just more. It's interesting of, like, it is becoming a bit more diverse, which I'm happy for. And so there's an interesting thing about, like, back in the day, I used to think, wow, like, there's this prestige and they had to keep it this way. But it's just amazing to see how they're now opening up the doors to folks of just different backgrounds and, as I said, like, different personality, more international still. So that was really cool. Um, it was definitely a good visit. I'll be back next year, but just wanted to share some, not necessarily learning, but just some observation about being back. And that was like the main part of my week last week. I had obviously it's a long weekend. I had a couple meetings earlier in the week, but let me know what you guys think. As usual, tune in. I'll try to do this once a week, just giving you a quick recap of some of the things and the thoughts that are top of mind. And we'll get there together.